Hello, guys and gals. This is the algorithm rabbit hole. The YouTube algorithm told me that I should know Bishop Whitehead, but I don't. So I traveled down the rabbit hole to find out more, and boy, oh boy, is it a mess. The more I traveled, the more I found. So let's get into this. Bishop Whitehead, known for his designer clothes and luxury cars, was indicted on Monday, December 19th, charging him with defrauding one of his parishioners out of her retirement savings, attempting to extort and defraud a businessman, and lying to the FBI. I pulled up the indictment and it was really interesting. The indictment states he is being charged with 2 counts of wire fraud, 1 count of extortion, and 1 count of making material false statement. The first 2 charges each carry a max sentence of 20 years, and the last charge carries a max sentence of 5 years in prison. Of course, if found guilty, the defendant is going to be sentenced based on the determination of the judge. These charges are nothing to play with, though. He has already served 5 years in New York State Prison after being convicted of grand larceny and 15 instances of identity fraud against multiple people in Long Island and Brooklyn around 2006. At the age of 45, Whitehead could be an old man by the time he touches soil again, if he's convicted of these charges, of course. It seems as though the FBI has had its eye on him for some time, likely unbeknownst to him, because he has over 1.6 million followers on Instagram, where he regularly goes live showing off his luxury items, the cars, the houses, the real estate that he is investing in, his jewelry, and an honorable mention, his church. It's called Leaders of Tomorrow International Churches, and it's in Canarsie. He also ran unsuccessfully for Brooklyn Borough President last year. Whitehead just has some strange stuff with him. He and his wife were robbed at gunpoint in July 2022, which was all caught on live stream during his church service. It really raised eyebrows because the thieves allegedly stole jewelry that was valued to be nearly $1 million. I don't know about you, but that's a little bit sus. On his church's website, he claims that his father is Arthur Miller. Now, Arthur Miller was a Bahamian immigrant to Brooklyn who became a really thriving entrepreneur and a community leader, but he was killed by the New York Police Department in 1978. What's interesting is, though, I found some news outlets that disputed the idea that Arthur Miller was actually his father, stating that he had only one son who passed away at a young age. So, I don't know. Another curious case of his strange involvement with things is aligned to the shooting on the Q train with Andrew Abdullah. Whitehead said that he was contacted by Abdullah's family for help, and he then reached out to Eric Adams, who was the Brooklyn Borough President, now the mayor of New York, and police officials to negotiate a surrender. But news outlets have stated that Abdullah did not show up to surrender. He had to be apprehended by law enforcement. It seems that there was a professional relationship that developed between Adams and Whitehead at some point through their collaboration on social issues aligned to Whitehead's work with Leaders of Tomorrow in Brooklyn. But it seems like Whitehead has used that public relationship to talk about his group's mentorship programs and raise funds, including before he actually registered that organization as a for-profit business in March of 2014. A number of the public claims about the group have been refuted, including by law enforcement. The Brooklyn District Attorney's Office sent Whitehead a cease and desist letter in November of 2014 after he promoted a collaborative justice initiative with the DA office that did not exist. The NYPD and Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce also countered claims by Whitehead that they were partnering with his group on specific initiatives. During another one of his sermons that was live streamed, he found himself in a confrontation with a woman, Tarsha Howard. She had walked past him during the sermon, apparently disrupting him, and the bishop was caught on camera grabbing this woman by the back of her neck to escort her away. The pair both ended up in jail. Wowzers. After the robbery that I talked about earlier at his church during the live stream, many people began to talk and question his legitimacy. One bothered Whitehead so much that he filed a lawsuit against her. Her name is Miss Jones, real name Tarsha Jones, and a local radio station host at 94.7 The Block for alleging making false claims about him. He is seeking a judgment of $50 million. Speaking of lawsuits, a lawsuit filed by a 56-year-old woman, Pauline Anderson, in 2021, who I believe is the person one that is indicated in the federal indictment, accused him of convincing her to liquidate her life savings and pay him $90,000 in November of 2020 with the promise that he would buy and renovate a home for her, according to the Brooklyn Supreme Court lawsuit. Whitehead also agreed to pay Anderson $100 a month since the savings was her only source of income, allegedly only made one of those $100 payments in January of 2021. And each time she asked about the status of her home that he was supposed to be getting for her, he repeatedly told her that he was tied up with his election campaign for Brooklyn Borough President, which, again, I told you earlier that he did not win. Ultimately, instead of helping Anderson find a home, he used the funds as a down payment on the contract to purchase a $4.4 million home for himself in Saddle River, New Jersey, alleging in the suit. Anderson was introduced to Whitehead through her son Rashid Anderson in 2020 after he helped her son Rashid secure housing after an intensive surgery procedure. Somehow, Whitehead sent an email to her son talking about the purchase of the home, and that led to her finding out, according to the lawsuit. Interestingly, the Saddle River purchase didn't go through, but Whitehead did allegedly buy a $4.5 million 48-unit apartment complex in Hartford, Connecticut. This was done through his LLC, Whitehead Estates, in 2021. Whitehead has posted videos on Instagram in front of this complex advertising real estate classes. I don't know about you, but I will pass. Hard pass. His 6-bedroom home in New Jersey, purchased in 2019 for $1.64 million, was visited by reporters who found a notice taped to the door that indicated he was in default for that $4.5 million loan he'd taken out for that Hartford property in Connecticut. The address listed on that loan is an apartment in a rent-stabilized complex that was purchased by a seemingly unaffiliated LLC in 2012. At the time, Whitehead was serving his sentence in Sing Sing for his involvement in that nearly $2 million identity theft scam. Anderson said that she went through Whitehead because she was told that she couldn't get a mortgage because of her bad credit, which is when Whitehead stepped in to offer his help. Anderson is seeking $1 million in damages for Whitehead's morally reprehensible acts, quote unquote, and for losing her entire life savings, according to the filing. Whitehead, who is allegedly cousin to rapper Foxy Brown, has a similar shady history. He has been spotted driving a Maserati and a Bentley, even as he owes $261,000 from an outstanding 2009 court judgment over an unpaid personal loan that came from a man named Maximo Brigado Darman. At the time, Maximo used Whitehead as a mortgage broker. He also preyed on a man named Brian Etta, taking $19,000. Ooh-wee, it's not looking good for your boy. I want to believe that some of the work that he has done in his church has been a positive impact to some lives, as that is what religious leaders should be doing. But all the mess that comes with him really overshadows any good that he may have accomplished. What are your thoughts? Drop down in the comments and let me know. After being arrested for the recent charges in the federal indictment, Whitehead was released on a $500,000 personal recognizance bond. He must stay in New York City while he is waiting for the case to take action. He also must maintain employment, and he's prohibited from making any contact with the alleged victims or witnesses. Of course, the bishop is pleading not guilty, and his defense lawyer says that he will be vigorously defending these allegations, and he feels that he is being targeted. Well, we shall see, Bishop Whitehead. We shall see. I hate to see another family torn apart due to incarceration, but at the same time, it's not hard to live a normal life free of crime, in my opinion, especially when that crime is done in the pursuit of material things. Hurting another person financially who is living on the up and up just for appearance's sake is weak sauce. Complete weak sauce. Anyway, guys and gals, that's all that I have for you today. If you like this content, please go ahead and like the video and subscribe. Now, I've traveled down this rabbit hole long enough, and it's time for me to exit. You all have a wonderful day.